Okay, real quick, I'm going to try to explain how tokens work in Roll20. So, in Roll20, you've got tokens. For example, let's say you've got a drow. It's a bad guy drow. I would go to Compendium, I would look up drow, I drop the drow in. This is, of course, assuming that I own the monster manual, and the monster manual has drow in it. So when I drag drow out, bam, drow appears. It's got hit points already. It's got a character sheet linked to it. What does that mean? That means that while the token is in the world, I can hold down Alt on my keyboard and double click and open up that character sheet. That means they are linked together. It also means that the hit points are linked. So if I don't hold down Alt and just double click the miniature, you will see that there is a 13 out of 13 none. What does this mean? This corresponds over here to the 13 hit points. This is so I know that, hey, drow have 13 hit points. Cool. Also, you'll notice the blue circle has a 15 in it. That is directly linked to the armor class of this drow. So this value, 15, is plugged in over here for that. What else is going on with this miniature? This miniature has sight turned off, but if sight was turned on, it has 120 feet of dark vision. So that's a basic token provided by Roll20. Now, let's say, for example, I purchased a module, and the modules, they don't go the extra mile for art. So sometimes you will run into a monster and it will just be a red circle, and the red circle will say something like, I don't know, the black spider, or it will say an NPC that we don't have art for, and it'll just be a big red ugly circle. And it's at that point where you're like, I want to use my own art. Well, cool. There's a million different ways to make tokens. Token tools are available online, but you also are provided, and a lot of people don't realize this, tokens with every Roll20 purchase that you make. So when you purchase stuff, it will show up over here in your premium assets, and you can go and grab miniatures from that stuff. So let's say we want to mix it up. We have a drow leader, and we need new art for the drow leader. So we'll go in here and take this, drag it out. And this drow leader, he's got the same stats as a drow, but he needs to have different art. Or he has the same stats, but he's got 20 extra hit points or something. So what we're going to do is we need to register this to also be a drow. So I'm going to double click this, because you'll see right now, it does nothing. It's just art. If I hold down Alt and double click it, it doesn't open a character sheet. It just opens the token information. So the first thing you gotta do, open up the token information, represents character. What does this mean? Alright, it explains what it means. But we're gonna click this drop down menu, and we're gonna look for drow. And we're gonna hit enter. Now it is linked to the drow. It was that simple. We want to have hit points. So what do? We choose either the green value, if you want to do the Roll20 default, or the red value, which is what I like to do. Either one is fine. So we're going to go here and say, well, drow has 13 hit points, but this guy's going to have 20 extra, so he'll have 33 hit points because he's a boss out of 33. And then maybe this guy has a name. So we'll leave it as drow, but we'll put Frizzle, not Drizzle. There we go. And I'll click this so that I can see the nameplate. If you want to have your players be able to see the nameplate, you'll have to go to Advanced, click that. And now that will show up in-game once I save it, see? Ba-bam. And you can see that now he has hit points. If we wanted to link his armor class, we could go to bar, and bar number 2, which is blue. And you see AC, but that is just for player characters. You want to do NPC AC. So now you can see that he has hit points and he has armor class. This is useful because when I'm running the game and people attack this guy, I can just click his miniature and remember, oh, he's got a 50 armor class that hits. I can also track his hit points by just clicking on 33, and he just took 10 damage. I hit -10, and it automatically does math for me, which is fantastic. He gets healed by a friendly Drow Cleric for 8, plus 8, he just got 8 hit points. That's the good stuff. Now, here's the thing. He is not a unique character sheet. He is a specialized instance of a Drow. So if I drag this Drow out, it's going to be this Drow. It's not going to be that Drow. What if I like this art more, and I want this to be the Drow I use for everything? Well, that is called registering token with a character sheet. So let's go to the art again, and we want every Drow, every basic Drow in the world to be actually Dritz-Duerden. So we'll take Dritz-Duerden here. There he is. And we'll make him every Drow. So I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to say represents Drow. Same deal. I'm going to link up the hit points. If I can't remember the hit points, I could always go to this drop down, type in HP, be reminded that it's 13, make it 13 out of 13, and then switch back to none. You do not want to leave hit points linked. If you leave hit points linked, bad things will happen. So don't leave hit points linked. Going to go ahead and link up the armor class though. There we go. And you know what? For good measure, I'm going to go ahead and turn on dark vision, which would be 120 in the first box, -5 in the second, to make sure that it's dim vision. And then I'm going to say has sight. There we go. Now I want this to be the new Drow miniature. I don't want to ever see these guys again. I only want to see handsome Dritz-Duerden. So what I'm going to do is open up his character sheet now, this Drow character sheet, and I'm going to hit edit in the top right, and where it says default token, I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to use the selected token, which is the one I have right here. Bam. I can even change the avatar art out. I can remove it, and I can go over and drag the Dritz art over. And if I wanted to make my experience even easier, I could say Drow, Elf. I could add all sorts of tags here to make searching for this miniature later easier. Lots of cool stuff you could do here. I'm going to go ahead and save it. And now, if I go over to Drow and I drag it out, it's the new art. You see? Cool. Now, why don't I want to have the hit points linked on monsters? I'll show you that real quick. If this was actually linked to his hit points, and I did 13 out of 13 hit points, and I'm like, that's really smart, because now it will keep track. But it doesn't work like that for monsters. If their hit points are linked, and one of them takes damage... Whoa. And one of them takes damage. There we go. All of them will take damage. So that's really bad. That's why you don't want to have that linked. You want to leave the hit point value as none, so that they're not doing that. Alright, so that is how you change out art, or add new art, or add alternate art, or change registered art for your tokens for NPCs. I'll do another video on how to do PC art in a different video. Alright, hopefully this was helpful for you.